Well, hello, I'm Robin Mitchell and I'm a career transition specialist, and I think Neil matched Michelle and I together because Michelle was looking at issues that she was thinking about within her own career.
And I obviously am Michelle, and I've had the pleasure of being mentored by Robin this year, and this is a short video telling the story of our mentoring experience over the past 6 months.
Initially, we discussed where Michelle was at, and to me, it seemed like she really needed to sort out exactly what she wanted. We started talking loosely about goals, and it seemed as if she was really doing a lot of stuff, and perhaps some of it was not quite as productive.
But when I spoke about wanting to move out of Sydney to somewhere quieter, Robin asked me a question about, well, why do you really want to move out of Sydney? And I paused and thought about that, and I said, you know what, it's not about moving out of Sydney, it's about slowing down and really focusing rather than doing so many things at once that I don't get good quality time focusing in on any one thing. So that became part of my goal, was to really focus in my career.
And yes, in the second month, we really did discuss the goals that Michelle had, and she really wanted to set her goal for the next 3 to 5 years within her career, and which she really realised that she needed to develop a plan and to then start taking steps.
Robin set me the task of figuring out what toys I could throw out of my playpen, and I did that by asking myself the question, does this spark joy? Which was a question I picked up from a Japanese woman who specialises in clearing clutter. So I applied that question to my work life, and for the month I looked at all the different things I was doing at work as well as in my professional development, and really honed in on those things that gave me the most joy. I also did that with my non-work activities and came up with a small set of things predominantly focused on social learning, collaboration and communities of practice, but also realising that one of the reasons I wanted to slow down was to make more time for the things that spark joy outside of my work, such as walking my dog and spending time with my family.
June arrived and Michelle had done a lot of holistic clearing, and she'd removed a lot of activities at work that were non-essential, and she'd learnt to delegate and say no. And while she'd been actively networking, she decided that perhaps she needed a better insight into the bigger picture at work and to be more strategic at work. She wanted a deeper knowledge of the business and organisational details, so she did begin to network much more internally now and seek out those of like mind.
Part of the purpose of my internal networking was to get clear on what the opportunities might be, to focus on the things I'd recognised I loved most about my work, the social learning, the collaboration in particular, and look for ways that I could add value to my business doing this. So to do that, I set up a series of meetings with different people in key roles where I could get to understand and start exploring how what I wanted to do might align with value in my business.
Okay, July arrived and Michelle was alive. She was absolutely excited about what she'd done. She had appeared quite rested, but she'd achieved her goals this month, gaining lots of deeper knowledge of the business and organisation. She'd done a lot more networking, and she had been in touch with her manager and began to sort of discuss her future career plans in that area. She was very strategic in that she met a number of people that were going to help her further her goals.
So it was a very busy month. I had a lot going on with my day-to-day workload, as well as external commitments around some conference presentations that I had made that were all on themes relating to the career transition I was attempting to make. And I knew I had a plan of action in place. I'd met people internally. I was getting a much better sense of how I could demonstrate the value I could add, and I had proposed a new role to my manager, and I knew I just had to keep on adding value and working my plan.
Month 5 arrives and Michelle has achieved an enormous amount. She has been totally focused on what she had planned, and she's staying very true to herself so that everything that she's doing, whether it works internally or externally, is going to work for her.
So at this point, I had proposed a new role called Community and Knowledge Manager. The role was being considered both by my manager and his manager for supply chain, as well as being considered separately as a potential whole of business role by our HR director. I knew that either way, the role would be approved in one of those scopes within my organisation, or I had a very clear sense of what my next role would look like in an external organisation. So I felt like I'd put in the hard work. Robin had given me some great guidance, set some tasks for me, been an amazing cheerleader and supporter, and that one way or another I really had clarity, and I'm really on the cusp of that next step of really being able to focus on something that I love doing that is going to add tremendous business value. In terms of the mentoring relationship and the value that that's added, yes, it's been career development, but it's really been supercharged. And I've never had a formal mentoring relationship before. The real value I got out of this was on several fronts. One was Robin asked great questions. There was always one or two questions which really gave me new insight and clarity and helped define what my next steps were going to be. And the other aspect was the accountability that comes with being in a mentoring relationship. I'd made commitments every month as to what I would do, and there was no way I was going to turn up and say to Robin, I haven't done them. So that held me to my plan, as well as giving me a bracket of time each month to be able to reflect on the progress I'd made and realising how much you can actually get done in a month if you're focused and have clarity around where you're headed.
I think I was very fortunate in being matched with Michelle. She was a dream mentee because she is so focused and that she really does what she says. It was interesting to note too that whilst mentoring her, at many times she paralleled my own private career and personal development as well. So that was an extra bonus. But the thing that stood out with Michelle is that she showed intent, and I think that's what mentoring is all about, is to get people focused and have that intent so that life can then take over and work in your favour.
So I would strongly recommend getting involved with the AITD mentoring program to anyone, Robin.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, do you want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Michelle too.
And thank you to the AITD for the opportunity to bring us together, because it's been marvellous to make the progress and to meet someone with a different perspective who normally I wouldn't have had the opportunity to grow alongside.
Yes, thank you, AITD. You've done a wonderful job in setting up this program, and we both appreciate it very much.